Okay, let's unpack this. We've got Fulham versus Everton, Craven Cottage, May 10th, 2025.
Yep, big one coming up.
Big one. And, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill preview show. We've actually got some pretty advanced AI insights here.
That's right. From the Gambler's Ruin Project, they've used their smart bet AI technology to really crunch the numbers on this specific match.
And the source material we have, it's this detailed report. It's basically our roadmap for this deep dive using that smart bet AI.
And what's really interesting, I think, is it's not just giving one single answer. It's using like a mix of different methods, statistical models and machine learning.
Multiple angles, yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the mission for today's deep dive. We want to pull out the key insights, the probabilities, basically what this AI is telling us about Fulham Everton.
Get you the important stuff, quickly and clearly.
Exactly. We want you to have a good sense of what the data hints might happen without getting totally bogged down in, overly technical jargon.
Okay, so where do we start? How does this smart bet AI actually work its magic?
Well, the report calls it a hybrid architecture, which sounds fancy, but
Yeah, think of it like this. It uses one tool, Poisson regression, mainly for predicting like the number of goals, how many times something happens.
right, the count.
And then it uses another set of tools, machine learning models, to look at the bigger picture, who wins, who loses, or if it's a draw.
And it's not just one ML model either, is it? It's like a panel.
Exactly. It brings in random forest, gradient boosting XG boost, that's the common name, and even a neural network, a multi-layer perceptron, or MLP.
So quite a few different ways of looking at the potential outcome. Gives it some robustness, maybe.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it highlights disagreement, which is also useful. Now, before we even get to goals and wins, the analysis kicks off with ELO ratings. What are these telling us here?
Good starting point. ELO ratings.
Yeah.
They're basically a dynamic measure of team strength, right? Not just league position.
Yeah, they constantly adjust based on who you play and what the result is. Beat a strong team, your rating goes up more, lose to a weaker one, it drops faster.
So for this match, the numbers are Fulham at 1-free-33.76 and Everton slightly lower at 1-fin-12.11.
So based purely on ELO, Fulham has a slight edge going in.
Okay, makes sense. Now, let's switch over to those goal predictions. You mentioned Poisson regression. How's that applied here?
So Poisson is great for predicting counts, like goals. The model looks at a whole bunch of factors to estimate the expected number of goals for each side.
And what kind of factors are we talking about?
Things you'd expect, really. Recent form, naturally, expected goals, or XG, the quality of a chances created, home advantage for Fulham.
Okay.
Also betting market odds, injuries, which we'll touch on later, and those ELO ratings we just discussed, all fed into the model.
And the output, what are the headline numbers for predicted goals?
For this game, the model predicts about 2.08 goals for Fulham, the home team, and around 1.33 goals for Everton, the away team.
So clearly predicting more goals for Fulham, almost tipping over that 2-goal mark on average.
Yeah, on average, that's the key.
Now, the report gets a bit technical here. It mentions p-values and coefficients from the model summaries. For Fulham's home goals, it says the p-value for market probe home is 0.000, coefficient 1.5639. Can you translate that for us?
Oh, yeah, let's decode that. Basically, that tiny p-value, 0.000, means the finding is statistically significant. It's very unlikely to be just random chance.
Okay.
And the positive coefficient, 1.5639, shows a strong positive relationship. So the higher the betting market's perceived probability of Fulham winning at home, the more goals this specific Poisson model predicts Fulham will score.
Okay. So the model agrees with the market sentiment in a way. And it's similar for Everton's away goals, too.
Very similar pattern, yes. A significant p-value and a positive coefficient linking market probability for an away win to the model's predicted away goals.
Interesting. It also flags home injuries as having a negative impact for Fulham, statistically speaking, though the number's tiny. And Everton's general away scoring record seems to boost their prediction.
Yeah, those details show the model is picking up on subtle factors. Even if the numerical impact of, say, home injuries seems small in the coefficient, the significance suggests it's a real pattern the model detected. And Everton's tendency to score on the road is factored in positively.
Right. But these are just single average numbers. The AI doesn't stop there, does it? It runs simulations.
Correct. To get a feel for the range of outcomes, they use bootstrapping with the Poisson models. They ran 1,000 simulations.
And what did that show?
It gives us confidence intervals. So for Fulham's 2.08 predicted goals, the 95% confidence interval is actually quite wide, 0 to 5 goals.
Wow. Okay. So anywhere from a shutout to a goal fest is plausible. according to the model's variability.
Pretty much. And for Everton's 1.27 predicted goals, the range is 0 to 4 goals. It just highlights that the average is one thing, but football's unpredictable. There's a spread of likely scenarios.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's the goal scoring side.
Yeah.
What about predicting the actual result? Win, lose, draw. What are the machine learning models saying?
All right. This is where it gets particularly interesting. Remember those 3 ML models, Random Forest, XGBoost, and the MLP neural net?
Yeah.
They all independently predict a draw for this match.
All 3. Wow. Okay, that's pretty strong consensus from that side of the analysis.
It is. Quite striking.
The report gives accuracy scores too. XGBoost seems highest at 0.65, Random Forest 0.62, MLP a bit lower at 0.51. What should we make of those?
They give a rough idea of past performance on similar data. So 0.65 for XGMoost suggests it got the outcome right about 65% of the time in its testing or training. It's not perfect, none of them are, but it's better than chance.
Anything interesting in the details like precision or recall?
Well, it notes the XGBoost model has slightly higher precision for away wins, around 0.64. So when it predicts an Everton win, it might be a bit more trustworthy than its other predictions, perhaps. But again, for this match, it's predicting a draw.
Okay, so individual models point to a draw. But then there's this stacked ensemble thing. What's that about?
Think of it as a master model. It learns how to best combine the predictions from the individual models, the Random Forest, XGBoost, MLP.
Like taking the best bits from each.
Kind of, yeah. Or learning how much weight to give each model's opinion based on the situation. The idea is often to get a more robust, maybe more accurate final prediction.
And what does the stacker say?
It also predicts a draw, and its reported accuracy is 0.65, same as the best individual model, XGBoost, but potentially more stable across the board.
Right. So machine learning side, draw, 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 draw.
Oh.
Seems pretty clear cut.
You'd think so. But then we circle back to the goal predictions and another simulation.
The Monte Carlo simulation based on those Poisson goal probabilities we talked about earlier.
Exactly. This time, they ran 10,000 simulations of the match based on the expected goals for each team.
10,000 times.
Okay.
And the outcome probabilities from that.
This is the twist. The Monte Carlo simulation gives Fulham a 54.45% chance of winning.
Over 50%.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a draw.
Not at all. It puts the probability of a draw down at 24.11%, and an Everton away win even lower at 21.44%.
Huh. So the goal-based simulation leans fairly strongly towards Fulham, while the pattern-based machine learning screams draw. That's a proper conflict in the analysis.
It really is. It shows how different approaches can give different perspectives on the same problem.
Fascinating. Does the Monte Carlo simulation give likely score lines too?
It does. Based on those 10,000 runs, the single most probable scoreline is actually 2-1 to Fulham.
Okay, that fits the overall Fulham win probability.
Yep, that has a 9.46% chance. But right behind it is the 1-1 draw at 8.96%. So very close.
Very close indeed. And after that?
Then it's 2-0 Fulham at 7.32% and 1-0 Fulham at 6.92%. So the top scores lean towards Fulham, aligning with the overall simulation probability.
Okay. And just quickly, the injuries again. Muniz out for Fulham, Tarkowski for Everton. The models consider this, right?
Yes, the report confirms injuries are factored into the Poisson goal model, at least. How much those specific absences affect the final numbers isn't explicitly detailed, but they are part of the input data.
Got it. Okay, wow. Lots of different pieces there. Let's try and synthesize this. What are the main takeaways from this deep dive?
I think the biggest takeaway is the divergence. You've got the goal-focused simulations suggesting Fulham are, reasonably clear favorites to win, probably by a score like 2-1 or 1-0. But all the machine learning models, which look at broader match characteristics and patterns, are quite unified in predicting a draw. And the ensemble model agrees.
So it depends which part of the AI you listen to almost.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
The most likely specific score is 2-1 Fulham, but the second most likely is 1-1, and the ML models think the overall outcome category is draw. It's not a simple prediction.
Which is valuable for you listening, right?
Yeah.
It's not just team A will win. It's a richer picture. You see the different analytical threads, the probabilities, the potential score lines, the areas of uncertainty or disagreement within the AI itself.
Exactly. It equips you with a much more nuanced view of what the data suggests might happen.
So maybe a final thought for people to mull over. Given this split simulations leaning Fulham win based on goals, ML models strongly predicting a draw based on patterns, what single factor do you listening think might actually tip the balance on the day?
Good question. Is it going to be Fulham's slightly higher expected attack finally breaking through? Or will Everton's structure, maybe reflected in those Emma draw predictions, hold firm?
Or maybe just a moment of brilliance or a mistake that no model can ever truly predict, right?
Always a possibility in football. It reminds us that even with sophisticated AI, there's still that inherent unpredictability that makes the game exciting.
Definitely. And of course, we absolutely have to add our usual reminder. All this analysis and discussion is purely for informational and entertainment purposes.
That's right. These are AI predictions based on data, not betting advice or financial guidance. Please always gamble responsibly.
Only wager what you can afford to lose. And if you feel gambling might be becoming a problem for you or someone you know, please do seek help from the relevant support services.